What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, Yuriorkis Gamboa, and Boxing Ego. Shout out to Bobby that sent me this video to Counterpunch concerning Terrence Crawford. Now, Terrence Crawford, of course, admits, as you guys can see, the title saying shocking Terrence Crawford's toughest opponent revealed. Okay. And in this particular video, I watched it and Boxing Ego was discussing Bud's toughest opponent. And Crawford was saying that it was Yuriorkis Gamboa. He was a 126-pounder that eventually moved up 2 weight classes to 135, in which he fought Terrence Crawford. And Terrence Crawford explained the speed and the size, which Yuriorkis was a lot smaller than Terrence Crawford, that it made it difficult. The in and out movement, the footwork, the adjustments that Yuriorkis made. And Terrence Crawford was explaining while he was making adjustments, Yuriorkis was also making adjustments. Okay. And as you guys, and as it reads, even before the fight took place, Crawford told media members that he felt the much shorter Gamboa was undersized and didn't have the firepower to compete with the best fighters who were much bigger at 135. He feels Gamboa should really be competing at 126 or 130 pounds. And let me counterpunch. First off, that was 2 weight classes down for Terrence Crawford at this point in time. Okay, that was back in 2014 when he fought Yuriorkis. Yuriorkis Gamboa was also undefeated at the time. Okay. And it did take a while for Terrence Crawford to catch him. But when he caught him and got him, and he got him out of there. Okay, the first one to do it. He's not going to be the last, but why should he be the last? You know, he was the guy that was able to solve that puzzle by simple adjustments. Okay, and just because a fighter's smaller doesn't mean the fighter is not better or not as talented. We have smaller fighters. Roman Gonzalez, Chocolatito. Marco Antonio Barrera was a lot better. Prince Asim Hamed was at 126 at that time. So there's a lot of fighters that were very talented just because they were smaller. You know, Manny Pacquiao is one serious word to mention. Okay? And what he's saying is, well, if he had that type of problem with Yuriorkis Gamboa, imagine a bigger, stronger Errol Spence. Well, just like a lot of fighters, their preference is fighting taller or bigger fighters versus smaller fighters. You know, that never occurred to a lot of people. You know, and I hear Boxing Ego say, well, I speak the truth. Well, I guess there's a version of your truth based on who you prefer. You know, and I know he prefers Errol Spence. And because he prefers Errol Spence, you're going to hear breakdowns like this with Terrence Crawford, you know, and people use certain factual inserts to try to support their theory. And the fact of the matter is, if you support Errol Spence, that's fine. You support Errol Spence. But that's not good enough. A lot of people will try to convince you that, no, it's not. It's just that. I think Bud's a terrific fighter. It's just I think Errol Spence has the better competition. And, you know, because of his opposition, he's not going to beat Errol Spence. Well, the good thing is, for all these years we waited around to see this fight, and we had all this material from all these different channels that really didn't like Bud because he was actually with Bob Arum. And he wasn't a PBC fighter, and he wasn't with Al Heyman, the black guy. That's why they didn't like him. Okay, that had nothing to do with Bud being here, there at 135 or at 140 or at 147. It had nothing to do with anything. He had stopped all of those guys at 147. But, he never got the credit because it wasn't a Keith Thurman or a Sean Porter or an Errol Spence or a Danny Garcia like all of the rest of the Al Heyman guys. Because Al Heyman guys, because they were with Al Heyman, they were the best guys. No, they were the premiered guys on their network because Al Heyman made those fights possible for all those fighters. Some of them, not all of them, because Errol Spence and Keith Thurman never got it on. And that was a fight that people wanted to see for a long time until they didn't want to see it because it took so damn long. But in either way though, we got Terrence Crawford and his opposition, and I know that's going to always be a talking point, Terrence Crawford's resume, but everyone always leaves out that Jose Benavidez, he was undefeated. Jeff Horn, he was undefeated. Yoriokas Gamboa, he was undefeated. Postol was undefeated. All these guys were undefeated until Kavalauskas, which was the toughest opponent, was undefeated. Okay? So all these guys that were undefeated, they come up against Bud and they end up defeated, right? They end up defeated and they're never really the same fighter. And then what happens? People don't give Bud credit for beating these guys. And it's sad because Bud's not the favorite guy. He's not that favorite fighter when it comes to welterweights. But I think, to really be honest, that a lot of these fighters and a lot of these fans, supposedly, they never really wanted Errol Spence to fight Terrence Crawford. And then what happens when Terrence Crawford beats Errol Spence, they're going to see egg in their face. And you have to understand, these are the same crowd of people that supported Glovegate. They're one and the same. Because, Tyson Fury had to cheat against Deontay Wilder to beat Deontay Wilder, but yet Deontay Wilder had all these flaws that they're overlooking, they're not mentioning, and they don't care for anybody else to mention. Let's be real. They will will attempt to shut your channel down if you make too much noise or if you get too much buzz. These are the same people, okay? So we can't forget that. So when people try, like Boxing Ego, he tries to put too much emphasis or these I'm speaking facts into this situation with Terrence Crawford. This is the same man that said Tyson Fury cheated Deontay Wilder. But again, where the hell was he in the trilogy fight? Mouth hanging open like a damn cartoon character, in disbelief that Tyson Fury was taxing that ass once again. But either way, we will see who will be the best between Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. And it won't be because Terrence Crawford hasn't fought the best opposition. It will be because he is one of the best fighters on the planet, like a lot of diehard fight fans already know. It's either one or the other. That's what makes this fight so spectacular. But you guys tell me what you think of this counterpunch of this particular video by Boxing Ego concerning Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!